I was stunned. Hearing this, the other two roommates silently started tidying up their beds, looking very busy. I swallowed hard and decided to pretend I didn't hear it, waiting for my answer for a long time. Michael directly poked his head out from the upper bunk. "Hey, Henry, why don't you reply to me? Come on. With our relationship. You still?" I suddenly stood up, covered his mouth, pushed him into the bed curtain, and then poked my head in as well. I whispered angrily, "What on earth are you doing?" He raised his eyebrows, casually brushed the sweaty hair off my forehead, and then said slowly, "I'm declaring my sovereignty. Can't you tell? Daniel likes you." Daniel is the roommate sleeping across from me. When I was downstairs and he learned that we were in the same dorm, he kindly helped me carry a suitcase. But as soon as we got to the dorm, Michael saw it. And then this guy started plotting. I said coldly, "What does that have to do with you? Don't forget we've broken up." Ex-boyfriend. Yes. I broke up with Michael on the night after the college entrance examination. Michael confessed his love to me. Actually, I also liked him. So we got together naturally. I thought our mutual affection would surely lead to a happy ending. But just before the start of school, we unexpectedly broke up. The reason for the breakup was simple. I couldn't stand Michael's strong control and possessiveness. Even when a stranger showed me a little kindness, he would get extremely jealous, and I had to spend a great deal of effort to comfort him. At first, I thought I could tolerate it. After all, when I was just friends with Michael, I knew he was possessive. But later, he became more and more excessive. Until one night, I didn't answer his call when I was taking a shower. That night, he rushed to my downstairs. It was raining heavily that night. When I called him back after taking a shower, he had been standing in the rain for a while and was completely soaked. I quickly pulled him into the house. As soon as he came in, Michael bombarded me with questions. "Henry, why didn't you answer the phone? Do you know how worried I was? What if something happened to you?" I didn't want to argue with him, so I immediately coaxed him gently. "I was taking a shower just now and didn't see the phone. I'll pay attention next time." "Why don't you take a shower first? You'll catch a cold later." He didn't listen to me and continued to scold me. "Henry, why didn't you send me a message when you were taking a shower?" Yes. Michael's control freak tendency had reached the point where he had to know what I was doing every moment. I knew about his problem and was willing to cooperate with him. But that day was an accident. The takeout I ordered accidentally spilled on me. I have a strong case of mysophobia. So I immediately got up and took my clothes to take a shower. I didn't expect Michael to look for me at that time, but out of concern for his health, I could only explain things to him while pushing him into the bathroom. After doing all these things, I collapsed on the bed and my mind wandered. Michael is mentally ill. His parents are both workaholics. He was brought up by a nanny. Due to long-term neglect from his parents, Michael gradually became a bit paranoid and pathological. He will try every means to possess what he wants or likes and hold them firmly in his hands. While I was deep in thought, I didn't notice that Michael had come out of the bathroom. He stood at the door and stared at me for a long time before suddenly speaking. "Henry, who are you thinking about?" I was really startled. My reaction was undoubtedly evidence of guilt in Michael's eyes. He wouldn't let it go and pinned me down on the bed to question me. "Who are you thinking about?" "I'm still here, and you're thinking about some other man. Is it the one who brought you water yesterday or the one who asked for your line when we went hiking last time?" Michael is having another fit of madness. I adjusted my posture, held his head in my arms, and gently stroked his back to soothe him. "I was just thinking about you." Michael didn't believe me. His eyes were bloodshot, and he roared insanely. "You're lying. I'm right in front of you. How could you be thinking about me?" After saying that, he took a bite of my neck, deliberately punishing me to make me suffer. What happened later goes without saying. I can't remember if I cried, but I saw Michael crying. Clearly, it was me who was in pain, yet he acted as if he was the one who had suffered a great injustice. I don't understand what he was feeling aggrieved and sad about, and I don't have the energy to explore his thoughts. I just feel exhausted, both physically and mentally. There are definitely problems in my relationship with Michael, though it might not be entirely accurate to put it that way. Those problems actually existed long ago. But I never cared because I thought that although Michael was hard to placate, at least we could communicate. But now I realize how terribly wrong I was. Michael is too crazy. He doesn't listen to me at all. No matter how I explain it to him or how I plead. He doesn't care. He just gets trapped in his own logical loop. Only then did I completely realize that Michael and I are not suitable for each other. I can't be the kind of lover he wants, who responds to him 24/7 and lives entirely under his surveillance. So, the next day, I broke up with Michael. He disagreed. He cried and apologized to me, saying that he was wrong and that he wouldn't do it again. He learned to cook my favorite stir-fried squid with dried chili. He burned several big blisters on his hands but still smiled and told me it wasn't difficult. I was so upset that I simply canceled my phone number and went abroad to relax. I didn't see Michael again until just before the start of the semester. Michael's expression darkened. I composed myself before speaking coldly. Now that you're sober, stop doing things that might lead to misunderstandings. I hope we won't have any interactions during our 4 years in college. I spoke harshly. After hearing what I said, the smile on Michael's face had completely disappeared. I guessed he was angry, but I didn't want to appease him now. I was just about to get off the ladder of the bed when my neck tightened. Michael put his arm around the back of my head and kissed me expressionlessly. I held on to the edge of the bed with both hands and couldn't resist, so I could only let him kiss me. Finally, after he had kissed enough, he let me go. I immediately started scolding. "What on earth are you doing?" Michael lowered his eyes. His long eyelashes, like fans, covered his eyes. I couldn't see his expression clearly. After a long while, I heard him speak in a low voice. "Henry, I'm in pain." The burning anger in me vanished instantly. I swallowed hard and then uncomfortably averted my eyes. "Michael, I'll let it go this time. If you go crazy again next time, I'll really be angry." After saying that, I didn't look at him anymore and quickly got out of bed. I admit that I still felt heartache when I heard what Michael said. He really knows how to handle me. Looking down, frowning slightly, with a look of helplessness and confusion on his face, and saying words of weakness. Whenever this happened, I would forgive him without any bottom line. I went to the bathroom to check the sorry state of my lips and tidied up my clothes by the way. Just as I finished and came out, I saw Michael lying there like a lord, resting his head on the pillow I had just made, and lazily asking me, "Do you want to go for a meal?" I ignored him, picked up my phone and went out. Michael immediately got up and followed me. His long legs easily caught up with me. "Just respond to me, Henry." I walked side by side with him. He chattered non-stop all the way. Even if I didn't reply to him, he could amuse himself for a long time. I stopped at a corner where no one passed by and then scolded him angrily. "Michael, can't you understand what I'm saying? I said it's over between us. Completely over. So please don't get close to me anymore." Michael stopped in front of me. There was no expression on his face. His dark eyes stared at me without blinking. After a long time, he finally spoke. "I don't want to. Henry, I can't do it. I know I was wrong. I went to see a psychiatrist and I'm taking medicine. I'm slowly correcting myself. Can you wait for me a little longer? I know I hurt you badly that day. It's reasonable for you to be angry with me. But can you give me another chance? I'll get better. Please don't be so cold to me." I still love Michael. But I also understand that we're actually not very suitable for each other. Michael needs a lover who can accompany him all the time, care about him and stay within his control. But it's hard for me to do that. I've always been accommodating Michael. After being with him, I completely lost my normal interpersonal relationships. I basically never met my friends alone. Michael was always there every time. And every time I talked happily with my friends, his face would turn so gloomy as if he wanted to eat people. He wouldn't make me lose face in front of my friends, but he would definitely throw a tantrum when we got back. If I didn't coax him well, then that friend of mine would be in trouble. I sighed and looked at Michael seriously, then spoke bluntly. "Michael, we're not suitable. In just 1 month of being together, you've thrown a tantrum nearly 15 times, basically once every 2 days. Even if I forgive you this time, our relationship won't last until next month. That's it, Michael. Let's part on good terms. After saying that, I didn't look at Michael's pale face. I pushed him away and turned to leave. Maybe my words worked. After that day, Michael didn't get close to me anymore. He even kept a distance from me on his own initiative. Although my roommate knew that we were ex-boyfriends, he didn't spread it around. My college life was leisurely and peaceful. Until one day, on my way back to the dormitory after class, a newly made friend Leo casually put his arm around my shoulder from behind. "Henry, let's walk together." I frowned subconsciously. I'm not used to such intimate physical contact. Even with Michael, whom I took a fancy to at first sight, he couldn't put his arm around me like this until we'd been friends for 3 months. Just as I was about to remove Leo's hand, I caught a glimpse of Michael standing under the railing not far away out of the corner of my eye. His expression was gloomy, and his eerie gaze shifted between Leo and me. In the past, at such times, Michael would definitely come over angrily and pry Leo's hand off me. I had to try my best to soothe him before he would let go. Michael frowned tightly, with a hostile look in his eyes. He clenched his fists tightly, as if he was about to rush over and punch Leo the next second. But probably because of what I had said, he stood still. If I didn't explain it to Michael, Leo would be in trouble. Immediately, I shook off Leo's hand and walked towards Michael. He stood still, staring at me with his dark, unblinking eyes. There seemed to be an undercurrent in his eyes, as if he was trying his best to suppress his angry emotions. I stopped in front of him. After taking a deep breath, I spoke to him. "There's nothing between me and Leo. It was just an accident. Don't cause trouble for him." Michael suddenly let out a cold laugh and turned away without saying a word. I immediately chased after him. I know Michael too well. If he doesn't give a definite answer, it means he's still angry. "Michael, say something." Michael continued to remain silent. I could only follow him closely and try to coax him. "Michael, don't be angry. It's really not what you think between me and Leo. Besides, we're already in the past. Don't hurt my friend because of me. Michael, can you hear me? Leo is not." Suddenly, my wrist tightened. Michael yanked me into the storage room, pinned me against the door, and kissed me without hesitation. I struggled instinctively. "Michael, you..." "Stop." Michael pressed the back of my head to prevent me from dodging. He kissed me forcefully, as if he wanted to vent all his anger. I was out of breath because of his aggressive kiss. After a long time, Michael let go of me. His eyes were bloodshot, and he gritted his teeth. Leo, you can't stop talking about him. Do you still expect me to let him go? How long did we be friends before you let me hug you? Who the hell is he? Leo? Why did he get ahead of me? Henry, do you have feelings for him?" He looked at me with a cold gaze. "Answer me, Henry. Do you have feelings for him?" Michael's look was terrifying, even more so than before. I had an intuition that if I said I liked Leo, Michael would definitely kill him. Michael was just too crazy. I quickly replied to him. "No, I don't like him." "Michael, can you calm down?" I reached out and stroked Michael's head, pressing it against my chest, and then gently patted his back over and over again. While patting, I coaxed him. "I have nothing to do with him. Don't be angry. Michael, don't be so impulsive." Michael buried his head in my chest and didn't move. After a long time, he just let out a muffled hum. The sunset outside the window had set, leaving only a layer of afterglow. Michael had completely calmed down, but he still clung to me like a child. I explained to Michael again about my relationship with Leo. I wasn't sure if he had listened just now. Michael wouldn't listen to anything when he was angry. "So, can you stop causing trouble for Leo?" Michael pretended not to hear again. I wasn't in a hurry and just held him like this. After a while, he looked up. The redness in his eyes had faded, and he stared at me intently. "Henry, I'm really angry this time. If you don't want me to touch him, you have to give me something in return." My eyelids twitched, and I asked him, "What do you want?" He looked at me sincerely. "Henry, let's get back together." I pursed my lips tightly and didn't say a word. Michael got impatient waiting and his eyes turned fierce again. If you don't agree, I'll kill Leo. Seeing that Michael was about to have another outburst, I immediately stroked his face in a flattering way and said gently, Michael, these two things can't be lumped together. As I've told you before, we're actually not very. Michael interrupted me. I don't care if we're suitable or not. I just want you. I sighed and said calmly, Michael, don't force me. Michael's originally arrogant air subsided a lot. He probably also remembered what an excessive thing he had done to me the night before the breakup. The atmosphere gradually became solemn. Michael looked down at the floor. After a long time, he said in a muffled voice, Then can you sleep with me? Just sleep in each other's arms. I can't fall asleep without you. I've been having insomnia for a long time. I looked at the darkness under his eyes. It really didn't seem like he was lying. My heart softened after all. Okay, but if you get handsy with me, you'll go back to your own bed and sleep. A flash of joy passed through Michael's eyes. He immediately responded, Okay. As soon as Michael got back to the dormitory, he couldn't wait to move his things around, making a racket as if he was afraid that others wouldn't know we were sleeping together. After taking a shower, it was not even 8 o'clock. Usually, Michael would still be sitting on the stool playing games, but now he was already lying in my bed. He even invited me in an unexpected way. Henry, come to bed. I couldn't bear it any longer. Michael, first of all, this is my bed. Secondly, it's only 8 o'clock. What's the rush to sleep? Michael drooped his eyes, and the smile on his face faded. He leaned against the headboard, speaking softly. Henry, I haven't had a good sleep for a long time. Can't you show me some pity? I turned my head and glared at Michael. My gaze happened to meet his eyes. A glimmer of water flashed across his eyes. Michael looked so pitiful and vulnerable. I gritted my back teeth. I knew I couldn't resist his acts of weakness, so he always used this trick. I sighed. Got it. I'll go to sleep after finishing this advanced mathematics problem. Michael was satisfied. The smile in his eyes was about to overflow. It was only 9 o'clock when I finished the advanced mathematics. When I lifted the bed curtain, Michael was idly scrolling through videos. As soon as he saw me coming in, he immediately yawned. So sleepy. Henry, you took so long to finish. Actually, that problem was very simple. I just didn't want to go to bed so early. Although I had promised Michael, going to bed at 8 o'clock was still a bit strange, especially when the other two roommates were still sitting below. However, I also knew I couldn't let Michael wait too long. Otherwise, who knew what crazy things he would do? I slept on the inside and said to him, Go to sleep if you're sleepy. Michael hugged me tightly in his arms and rested his head on my shoulder. After saying that, he actually fell asleep. I looked back at him. Michael was breathing steadily and regularly. He didn't seem to be pretending. My gaze fell on his legs. Michael likes the cool. Even in summer when using the air conditioner, he doesn't cover himself with the quilt properly. If it weren't for his good health, he might take cold medicine every day. However, Michael is relying on his youth. When he gets old, he'll probably have a lot of minor ailments. I got up to cover him with the quilt. Just as I sat up, Michael suddenly woke up. He grabbed my wrist tightly and looked serious. Where are you going? There was a faint trace of uneasiness on his gloomy face. You promised to sleep with me. Are you lying to me? I pointed at his legs. Your legs are exposed. You'll catch a cold later. I'm just covering you with the quilt. After thinking for a moment, I added another sentence. I promised to sleep with you and I won't leave. Michael relaxed his expression. After watching me cover him with the quilt, he immediately moved closer and hugged me tightly again. It was much tighter than the last time. I moved uneasily. Michael immediately tightened his hold reflexively, squeezing me so hard that I could hardly breathe. I patted his hand and called him. Michael, loosen up a bit. Michael reluctantly loosened up a little. I had to call him again. Michael, you're holding me too tightly. I can hardly breathe. Hearing that, Michael loosened up a little more. Every time I called out, he loosened up a bit. It really wore me out. When he had relaxed enough, I just adjusted my sleeping position, and Michael's hand tightened again. I looked at the wall in front of me speechlessly. Finally, I turned around and looked at Michael. He seemed to have realized his problem too, and loosened the hand that was holding me tightly a little. I sighed and took one of his hands, interlocking our fingers tightly. "Can you sleep peacefully like this?" His gaze fell on our interlocked fingers and he nodded. I didn't turn around again and faced Michael. "Then close your eyes and sleep peacefully. I promised you that I won't leave." Michael finally closed his eyes and fell asleep again. But I just couldn't fall asleep. Didn't Michael say he was seeing a doctor? Why does it seem that his illness is getting worse? It's not that I haven't slept with Michael before. Although he also likes to hold me while sleeping. He wouldn't wake up immediately as soon as I moved. I looked at him with a faint sense of worry. But no matter how hard I thought, I couldn't figure it out. I could only ask Michael about it tomorrow. The next day, I was woken up by someone staring at me. The burning gaze was constantly sticking to me. It was so real that even in my sleep, I could clearly feel the heat. I opened my eyes helplessly. Sure enough, I saw Michael propping his head up, staring at me without blinking, as if he was afraid that I would disappear the next second. I moved my body. My hand was still being held by Michael, seeing that he had no intention of letting go at all. I could only give a soft hint. "I need to go to the toilet." He looked at me and reluctantly let go of my hand. When I came out of the bathroom, Michael had also gotten up. After washing up, he followed me to have breakfast. Finally, I couldn't help but ask him, "Have you been taking your medicine on time recently?" He turned his head to look at me, slightly frowning, as if he didn't understand why I asked such a question, but still nodded obediently. I was puzzled. Whether it was his sudden awakening last night or his abnormal behavior this morning, I didn't think Michael's condition was improving. I continued to ask him, "Is the doctor reliable? Professional? Experienced?" Michael was beaming with smiles and raised his eyebrows. "Henry, are you concerned about me?" Michael's eyes sparkled. He seemed extremely happy. I simply went along with what he said. "Yes." His eyes sparkled even more, and he smiled like a fool. I was still a bit worried and discussed it with him. "Let me go with you to see the doctor next time." Michael lowered his eyes, and his dark pupils stared straight at me. I didn't know what he was thinking. Suddenly, the corner of his mouth curled up into a mischievous smile. He leaned his face towards me and said frivolously, "Then give me a kiss, a French kiss, and I'll promise to let you go with me." I looked at Michael for a long time. He clearly knew that I definitely wouldn't agree to what he said, but he still said it. He didn't want me to know about his condition. My chest felt stuffy. Michael also started to keep things from me. Well, after all, we're just ex-boyfriends. Why should I know everything? Nevertheless, I was still a bit annoyed. I pushed Michael away and said crossly, "Whatever you want. If Michael doesn't want to talk about something, no matter how hard I try to get it out of him, I won't succeed." However, since he started sleeping in my bed, his temper has become less irritable. So I simply stopped asking. "There are no classes this afternoon. Michael has an appointment with the doctor." When I was bored staying in the dormitory alone, Samuel sent me a message. "Chuan, wanna come out and play? I'll introduce you to my girlfriend." Samuel was my best friend in high school besides Michael. However, since Michael transferred to our school, our relationship has faded a lot. Later, when I broke up and went abroad, I accidentally ran into Samuel and only then learned that Michael had threatened him to stay away from me. At that time, he still patted his chest with lingering fear. You don't know how scary he was. His look was as if he wanted to tear me apart. If I didn't agree, he would have ripped my head off the next second. I thought about it. Since I had nothing else to do anyway, I simply agreed. Okay. After replying to Samuel, I subconsciously opened the chat window with Michael to report to him. Looking at the chat box, I was stunned for a moment. During the period after our breakup, I always opened the chat window with Michael from time to time and wrote down what I did every day. In order to break this habit, I changed my phone number. Unexpectedly, as soon as he was out of my sight, I subconsciously wanted to send him a message. After thinking for a moment, I deleted the words I had typed. It will take Michael several hours to see the doctor. I can leave Samuel's gathering early, so there won't be a conflict. Most importantly, we've already broken up. It would be really stupid of me to report to Michael, but I didn't expect the accident to come so soon. When I arrived at the private room, Samuel was gulping down drinks one after another. I pressed his hand and asked, "What are you doing? Didn't you say you'd introduce your girlfriend to me?" Suddenly, Samuel burst into tears with a wail. "She just broke up with me." When a man is lovelorn, as a brother, there's actually no need to say much at this time. Immediately, I picked up a glass and accompanied Samuel in drinking. I have a pretty good tolerance for alcohol. After a few drinks, my mind was still clear. Samuel was no good. He had a poor tolerance for alcohol and also a bad drinking behavior. He went crazy singing sad love songs and then vomited all over me. My misophobia flared up immediately. I immediately took him to the nearest hotel to deal with it. I ordered several pieces of clothing on the food delivery app and then rushed into the bathroom in unbearable disgust. During this time, Michael called me. His tone was very cold. "Where are you?" Looking at the time, Michael should still be in the hospital. If he knew that I was in the same hotel room as Samuel, I didn't know how crazy he would go. Naturally, I couldn't tell him the truth. In the dormitory, "What's up?" There was a silence on the other end. 2 or 3 seconds later, Michael spoke again, with an even colder tone. "Really?" I replied to him without batting an eyelid. Suddenly, Michael let out a cold laugh and hung up the phone without warning. I realized that he was angry, but I didn't understand what he was angry about. Could it be that he could tell I was lying to him? Just then, there was a knock on the hotel door. When I wrapped myself in a bathrobe and came out, Samuel was already staggering towards the door to open it. I quickly followed him. "You're in this state. Just stay put obediently. I'll handle it." The next second, the door was opened, and Michael rushed in full of hostility. Before I could react, he had already swung his fist at Samuel with a sinister and terrifying expression. "How dare you touch someone of mine? You're asking for death." I immediately rushed forward to hug Michael and shouted at Samuel, "Get out of here." Michael really looked like he was going to kill someone in this state. A sharp pain came from my chin. Michael had red eyes and gritted his teeth. "You're protecting him." Samuel was already sobered up by Michael's punch and immediately scrambled out. When Michael was about to chase after him, I immediately wrapped my arms around his waist and blocked in front of him, trying to soothe him. "Michael, could you calm down first? Will you listen to my explanation? I didn't do anything with him." "Ah!" My actions made Michael even angrier. He didn't hold back his strength and threw me onto the bed. The violent impact made my head dizzy. Before I could get up, Michael straddled my waist. Michael was completely out of control. While tearing at my bathrobe, he roared, "Where did he touch you? Where did he touch you? You're mine. You belong to me. I must kill him." Michael was completely irrational. During this time, I explained to him many times, but he didn't listen at all. He stripped me naked and examined me all over before confirming that I hadn't been touched by anyone else. Michael looked up, and his paranoid and sickly gaze fell on my lips. He kneaded them mercilessly. "What about here? Did he touch here?" Without waiting for me to answer, he pressed his lips against mine. He kissed me deeply, as if he was performing a thorough disinfection, making me completely out of breath. I whimpered and patted his chest. Tears uncontrollably streamed down my face. But Michael ignored me and intensified the kiss even more brutally. The phone rang abruptly. I glanced at it. It was a call from the delivery guy. Just as I was about to answer, Michael raised his hand and threw the phone away. He lowered his head and kissed my neck and collarbone. Finally, I got a chance to catch my breath and called out to him. "Michael, please, come down first. Okay? Things are not as you think." I had to coax Michael first to calm him down so that he would listen to my explanation. Michael stopped his kisses from moving down. He buried his head in the crook of my neck, trembling violently all over. I heard him muttering softly, "No, I can't do this. Henry will ignore me again. Calm down. I can't do it. Henry will be in pain. He will abandon me." My nose tingled, and my heart trembled when I heard that. I immediately sat up and hugged his head to comfort him. Michael, I didn't sleep with anyone else. I'm yours. Didn't you just check? Michael was acting very strangely now. He was shaking all over, and his eyes were empty and dull. I pecked his lips again and kept stroking his back with my hand. I coaxed him softly. Michael, look at me, okay? Calm down first. I won't abandon you. Can you say something to me? Michael? Michael was still shaking. I could only hold him tighter, kissing his earlobe and Adam's apple while coaxing him. How could I abandon you? I love you the most. I only love you. Don't be angry. Okay. There was gradually a glimmer of light in Michael's eyes. Seeing that he could now listen to my explanation, I planned to seize the opportunity. Just then, there was a ding sound, and the door opened. Michael immediately rolled over and pinned me down under him, shaking the quilt over both of us. The hotel staff looked at our postures and stood at the door somewhat embarrassed. He asked me, Sir, just now the gentleman outside said you might be in danger. Do you need our security personnel to help you deal with it? The gentleman outside should be the food delivery guy. But Michael probably thought it was Samuel. Hearing this, his muscles immediately tensed up. Seeing that he was about to get angry again, I quickly spoke up. No need. This is my boyfriend. He might have some misunderstandings. I can handle it myself. Hearing this, the hostility around Michael completely dissipated. After confirming that I wasn't being coerced, the staff closed the door and left. I immediately got up and sat on Michael's lap, wrapping my feet around his lower back. I buried Michael's head in my chest and then slowly said, Baby, can you listen to my explanation now? Michael hung his head and nodded slightly. I immediately explained everything to him, not missing a single detail. It was wrong of me to lie to you. I was just afraid you'd overthink. So I lied. Won't do it again. Okay. Also, can I report to you in advance whenever I go out to meet someone in the future? Michael spoke in a very low voice, seemingly a bit aggrieved. I lifted his face and asked him, Is there anything else I haven't explained clearly? Why are you still so unhappy? Michael looked up at me and then immediately lowered his eyes. Did you just tell him I'm your boyfriend to get rid of him? Michael looked dejected. I leaned over and kissed his lips. No, it wasn't for him. It was for you. Michael, let's start over. Michael suddenly looked up and stared at me in disbelief. Really? I nodded. Yes, Michael. Let's get back together. I still couldn't bear to see Michael suffering. Seeing him so lost, my heart ached as if someone was stirring it wildly with a knife. Michael has a strong, possessive, and controlling nature. Then I'll keep telling him that I love him, that I love him deeply. I can slowly teach him how to love, let him receive love, feel love, and understand love. Just as I was thinking, Michael suddenly grabbed my chin and solemnly kissed my eyes. Henry, I'll receive proper treatment. I've been going to the hospital on time. If I lose my temper in the future, you can beat me and scold me, but don't ignore me or disappear. Okay. I promise you. I took Michael to apologize to Samuel because he had threatened and beaten Samuel before. Samuel was still heartbroken from a breakup and was beaten for no reason. It was really pitiful. Samuel timidly shrank in the corner and only asked me when Michael went to the restroom. You two are back together. I nodded. He widened his eyes and said in disappointment, No, don't you find it strange? How did Michael know which room we were in? I knew what Samuel meant. Michael must have put a tracker on me. Otherwise, he couldn't have found me so accurately. However, I shook my head disapprovingly. Your question is ambiguous. Why does it seem like Michael is here to catch someone having an affair? Samuel frowned. He probably also thought it was inappropriate. But he immediately said seriously, I'm being serious with you. Don't change the subject. Do you really want to be with Michael? Didn't you tell me at that time that the two of you weren't suitable? You also said that it was too tiring to take care of Michael's feelings. You wanted to live a more relaxed life and didn't want to be tied down by anyone. I stared at the wine glass in front of me and slowly spoke. The other day, I accidentally ran into Michael's younger brother. Do you know what he said to me? Samuel looked curious. What? I lowered my eyes and my voice was hoarse. He said that after I broke up with Michael, he locked himself in his room and kept calling me crazily. When they realized something was wrong and broke down the door, they saw Michael curled up in the corner with cuts on his hands that he made with a knife in a fit of madness. I looked straight at Samuel. I can't bear to see him torturing himself like this anymore. I also don't want what happened at the hotel that day to happen again. Compared to losing Michael, all the other things don't matter at all. Moreover, he's already seeing a doctor, and his condition is gradually improving. Samuel still looked solemn. Are you afraid that one day he'll suddenly go crazy and hurt you? I remembered that at the hotel, even though Michael was extremely angry, he still maintained the last bit of rationality, suppressing his anger and stopping himself forcefully. I let out a soft laugh and answered firmly. He won't. Samuel looked at me and sighed. Forget it. Since you've made up your mind about him, as your brother, I can only give my blessings. By the way, why has he been gone for so long and still not come back? I glanced at the slightly ajar door and said casually, maybe he got lost. Actually, there is another reason for asking Michael to apologize today, which is to make him completely at ease. As expected, usually when I chat with my friends, Michael can't wait to stick to me, but today he got up and left before long. I know he is just outside the door, listening to the conversation between me and Samuel. Actually, I can feel that Michael hasn't completely let his guard down. He believes that nothing happened between me and Samuel that day, but he doesn't believe that the two of us are innocent. However, he is afraid that if he makes a scene again, I will be angry and leave him again. Looking at Samuel's innocent and simple look, not knowing anything, I felt a little guilty. I took out the gift I prepared on the way and handed it to him. This is for you as an apology. Samuel was a little confused. Didn't Michael already give one? I shook my head. This is for me. After all, Michael hurt you because of me. Samuel didn't act coy and took it freely. Then I'll take it. It's worth getting beaten. On the way back, Michael was silent. I know he was deeply regrettably because of my suspicion and mistrust. I stepped forward 2 steps, stood in front of him, looked up and kissed his lips, and said to him with a smile, Michael, I love you. He stopped walking, lowered his head with red, rimmed eyes, and murmured after a long time, sorry. I smiled and ruffled his hair. It's not your fault. Michael, let's take it slow. There's no rush. Michael extra. When Henry proposed to go with me to see the doctor, I was resistant. I was afraid. The doctor said that there was basically no possibility of a cure for my illness. I could only rely on medicine for slow treatment. If Henry found out, would he be very disappointed in me and then leave me again? I didn't dare to think about it. Fortunately, Henry didn't ask me about this again after that time. He would only tell me every day that he loved me very much, and then he would give me whatever I asked for. Gradually, those morbid and paranoid thoughts in my heart gradually disappeared, and I began to become calm. Even the doctor found it incredible. Well, when he first saw me, my condition was really terrible. He asked me what made my condition improve so quickly. My mind was full of Henry. I smiled and said to him, it's love.